Good morning. My name is Zainab, Zainab, Chaudhry, Chaudry. I am the director of CAIR's office here in Maryland. CAIR is a Council on American Islamic Relations. We are America's largest Muslim civil rights and advocacy organization. Earlier this week, we were actually contacted by community advocates who were concerned about the circumstances and the situations facing some of the families, 40-some Afghan families who have been temporarily placed here pending relocation to long-term housing. Yesterday, CAIR conducted a site visit along with community advocates to meet with some of these families and to get an idea of what kind of experiences they've been enduring. And we've been deeply alarmed by the stories that we have learned. Some of the details of these stories, including that of an elderly Afghan woman who has been staying alone, who doesn't speak English, and has not been contacted or checked in on by a caseworker in over a month. During this month, for 2 weeks, she tells us that she was sick, she was in bed, she did not have access to health care, and there was no caseworker checking up on her to see how she was doing. Also stories like a pregnant Afghan woman whose baby was reportedly born 3 weeks ago, but the family couldn't leave the hospital to come back to the hotel because they did not know the address. They didn't speak English, and they did not have a caseworker who was following up with them to help them figure out logistics. We've also heard of stories of a pregnant woman for whom 911 was called when she was going into labor. There was no transportation or plan for how she would get to the hospital and how she would get back to the hotel. We've also heard stories of a father whose work authorization documents have been delayed by over a month after they were shipped to a different state, and they successfully have not been able to track them down yet. There have been multiple families in this facility who have been relocated to housing in a neighborhood where they feel unsafe, where they don't have access to nearby groceries, they don't have access to a community, and they tell us that they're afraid to even leave the house or let their children play outside. We've talked to multiple families who have small children who either have been evicted by the housing agency or the resettlement agency that's placed them here, or they're in the process of being evicted during a pandemic with really no other recourse than to either be homeless or to rely on the generosity of strangers. One of the Afghans who was evicted last week has been sleeping on the floor reportedly of a friend's apartment. He was taken to a hospital yesterday by a volunteer, underwent surgery, and when he's discharged, he's going to be in the same predicament as many of these other families of not knowing where to go, where he can stay, where he will be housed. These are only a handful of the examples, and one of the community advocates here, Jenna, she's going to share some more stories of the families that she's been working with and other volunteers have stepped up to work with. From CAIR's perspective, we recognize and we understand the challenges that resettlement agencies are facing, with the rapid influx of families and SIVs who have been coming under unique circumstances, especially amidst a global pandemic. This presents different challenges. We understand there's also a high rate of caseworker turnover. However, our call to both the resettlement agencies and to the agencies responsible for providing oversight for these families is if these agencies cannot provide the services and support to these families, they need to be able to outsource to other advocacy organizations who can step in and provide that kind of support. My organization has been in touch several times with the resettlement agency that's responsible for many of the families who are staying at this facility. We were told that we basically could not help. We were not given any information about where any of the families were going to be staying. Several times we've reached out since last fall, since September, October, and last November as well, and we were essentially told that our help could not be accepted by the agency. This is not acceptable. We are calling on state and federal agencies, including the Office of Refugee Resettlement under the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Maryland Office for Refugees and Asylees to, one, place immediate moratorium on any and all evictions of these families until they can conduct a full and transparent investigation into the allocation of funding and the processes that are in place for the supporting and housing of these families. We're also calling on them to ensure that if this agency is not able to provide the support to these families in a meaningful way, families that include small children, as you can see behind me, that include pregnant women, people who have health conditions and do not have access to medical care, that they allow other advocacy agencies to step in and provide the support that is necessary to assist them. You will hear today from community advocates and a couple families. In the interest of time, we're going to try to limit the number of speakers, but we really want to try to highlight the urgency of the situation. This is not only a financial and a physical impact, there is a psychosocial, a mental, emotional impact that this is having, compounding trauma upon trauma on families who've already endured challenging circumstances and who are now being in a situation where they essentially, in some cases, have been left to fend on their own. So we really want to convey the impact and the gravity of this situation. The first person you're going to hear from is Miss Jenna Whitney, who is a community advocate who has been a tremendous ally and resource to this community. Jenna.
So my name is Jenna Whitney, JennaWhitney. I first found this hotel and these people last Thursday. I came to help give away clothes and food. I found out about them just through a friend who was coming up and doing the same thing. My friends have only learned about these people 2 or 3 weeks ago. Before that, we don't know exactly how they were getting care. I know other organizations have been up here, but there have been no centralized efforts to organize help through nonprofits or local organizations. I know other organizations have reached out to IRC to find out how we can help. We are not receiving phone calls back. I've emailed, I've phoned, I've heard nothing back from the IRC personally. So I've worked with each one of these families now over the past 5 days. 5 days. I've heard every one of their stories. They're all heartbreaking. I mean, we could talk for 2 hours, and I have talked to 2 hours to some of these people. What we're doing to these people is not America. This is not the way it's supposed to be run. We have money for these people. We were spending billions of dollars in Afghanistan. Where's that money now? So I'm angry. If there's anything that I can do to help the IRC, I'm here. Give me a call. Thank you.
Next, we're going to hear from Marnice Williams from the Dar es Salaam community.
As a representative from the Dar es Salaam community in College Park, Maryland, I'm here to support the organizations that are involved with assisting families with adequate housing while not having to worry about being evicted, as we've been told that it is occurring. We're calling on state and local officials to not only investigate, but to stop the evictions until we can resolve the major issues regarding the horrific incidents that have taken place. Thank you. I'm sorry, Marnice, M-A-R-N-I-C-E, Williams, W-I-L-L-I-A-M-S.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead. Sign it. Yellow.
The next speaker is going to be Akhtar Shah, who is one of the Afghans who's been placed here, who's going to speak on behalf of several of the families who's been impacted.
First of all, hello, good morning. We are appreciate from all collection of you that you come and ask our situation. We are happy. We are very happy that you have come and ask our situation, the Afghan refugees. I'm actor representative of these guys that almost 40 or 45 immigration family in Sengalmen. We live here. And especially we are very appreciative from these NGOs that they have come since 5 days and they have brought different things like foods, computers, different things. They facilitate us. We are very happy that they have done their humanity helping to us. So now we have come here to convey our message, our problems by your media, and we are very happy and appreciate from you that you come here and you will convey our message. You know, the immigration process is all over the world, especially Afghan people. They are suffering a lot of the problems in the immigration process. So we have collected a lot of the issues, almost 30 or 35 issues that we will convey to you. But we request you from you media that you send our message to all American people. We know about American culture, American people. They are very kind. Since we stay here almost 3 months, 45 days, different people, So a lot of the different people, they come here and they ask, they donate us. We are happy from that guy, but we want to take more attention to our people. So we might have a lot of the issues that we will deliver step by step. It is time. So by time we will deliver, but I'm not sure that I will deliver now that the issues or by the time. So finally, we are appreciate from all you collection medias and NGOs, any American people, by the representative of the American, they come and ask. We are very appreciated from the deep of our head. Thanks so much.
We want to just emphasize the fact that many of these families have been deeply traumatized and impacted by everything they've experienced, but at the same time they've been overwhelmed by the generosity of the community who stepped up, who has been bringing donations pretty much almost daily, I think, Jenna, right? They've been bringing donations and they've been helping to support the families who are here, and they really just want to provide a safe environment for their children, for each other, for one another. So it's really been a heartbreaking situation to see these families going through what they've been going through. And next we'll have Munir Sadakat, who's also one of the representatives for the families. Brother Munir, if you'd like to say a few words.
Hello, good morning from all of you guys. So we just thanks from you guys to come here, and we appreciate it. We just have some issues in here that we didn't receive it yet. So we hope together in the future we will solve these problems issue we have. So and thank you so much from you guys that you share our words to all of the people in here. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And finally, we're going to have a representative from the IWDC, Miss Barbara, who's going to Ferris.
Thank you and good morning. My name is Barbara Ferris, and I am the president and founder of the International Women's Democracy Center, which I established nearly 3 decades ago with a mission to strengthen women's global leadership. And I've been involved with helping refugees around the world through our Welcome Refugee program. And people need to understand that the journey these Afghans took to get here was traumatic, and that it was not an easy ride. They ran for the planes in Kabul, which everyone saw, and then they went from country to country without knowing which country they were going to end up in. And then to have to be in a situation like this where their basic needs have not been addressed for nearly 3 months is reprehensible. What we're witnessing, believe it or not, in our own backyards is a humanitarian crisis. I've been working with volunteers and groups in Virginia, and we have resettled refugees in record time. They've gotten their benefits. We've gotten jobs. Kids have been signed up for school. We've gotten driver's license. Moms are enrolled in ESL classes. And I've really not witnessed anything like this. So I think it's important to understand that we have a federally funded agency that is tasked with specific roles and responsibilities, and those are not being fulfilled. I look forward to hearing how this actually turns out. Thank you.
One of the refugee or the evacuees would like to share some of the challenges that they've been facing, Mr. Akhtar. So he spoke with all of the families who are at this residence to make a comprehensive list of some of the kind of issues that have been impacting them. Did you want to share them?
Of course, of course.
Please go ahead.
So, the fact is that we might have a lot of the issues, a lot of the problems, but as a highlight, and I think you don't have a lot of the time to tell all of them. So as a highlight, we have written here. So the collection of problems that I wanted to message you, and you message to American to State Department or any organization that's related to that they will be able to solve our problem. First, the problem is that we stay here. No, our documents is not complete, right? The second, that we have a problem that we have, like, we stay here in this hotel, but we don't know that how many time we will stay here, and IRC comes and they bring us and they push up, just go, and we will, like they do not ask from us that where you wanted to stay, just we are obligated, and they move from here. Some of the people, they might go like 2-3 guys, after 3 days go. Some of the people that of our friend, that they went their new places, they are not happy, like not sophisticated place. This is the problem. So education problem you have, financial supporting problem you have, family problem. Like we have here 2 group of the people. One, they come with their family. One, they come like me, single. You know, we didn't have fund to take our families. We are under the threat of the Taliban. So our family remain over there, and we have the problem to evacuate that people from over there. We are thinking about that guys. Especially physically, I'm here, but mindly, I'm over there. Believe me. So about job problem, driving lessons, insurance, English courses, gift cards, food stamps, they are promised. At least of the people we have gotten some documents, but almost 70% of the people, they haven't gotten their documents yet. The IRC promised us that we will give you your documents by the time, but I think they are not like do such kind what they tell us. So NGOs promise us that we will take to some area if you want. So the fact is that if they go us, they will like instrument a house, be different kind of the problem you have. So if you for a job problem, we have some instruments, like we are given some mobiles, but that is limited. We cannot call to Afghanistan. Just we will receive, but we cannot cover. So like mobile, cell phone, internet, education, these are the problems that we have. Moving to other, so some problems, some of the people, they want to go to other states. This problem also we have. Suppose I wanted to go to California, but what should I do? The NGO will help us or not? Culture classes, we wanted to be taken here by the time if you are like move from here to our homes. So not attending caseworkers, you know, a lot of the people, a lot of the time we call to our caseworker, but sometimes they do not respond our telephone. Especially this madam was sick a few days before. So one of the NGOs, like this madam, we are very appreciate these madams and other madam by the name of Susan. We called her and he come like personally went to the clinic. So this problem, caseworker not attending on the time.
And the caseworkers were told that there was a high turnover.
Yeah.
There still hasn't been follow-up.
So some IRC tell us they call us today, tomorrow you will move from here and you should go over there. Otherwise you will pay here your rent. Even I don't have $20 in my pocket. How I pay $120? 24 hours you should pay for this $120. So if we reject their speech, they will pay. You should pay for the hotel. Even we weren't able to buy a bread. How we will be able to pay for the rent? So this is problems. Sick, sometimes we're sick, we don't have much more facilities, you know, that's I mentioned before. Single means some IRC not coming. Driving license, we might have problem. What about this one? So some of the people, they might have they might find here job, so they wanted to stay here, but we are obligated to go like some 100 miles over there. So some of the people like me, like other, suppose they wanted to stay here. So we ask from IRC in any State Department representative that anywhere we want, like we are a human. We have the right. We are to stay. That is not, we should not be obligated. Anytime we want, we stay over there.
And Mr. Akhtar, the thing that all of these stresses, all of this trauma, these are things their caseworkers should be taking care of for them.
Yeah.
The IRC should be helping them with these problems. This is too much to bear when you already have the trauma of coming from a war-torn country and fleeing and going country to country for days at a time. It's too much.
Okay, so we're going to wrap it up now.
That's great. Thank you.
So again, these are just some of the examples of the challenges these families have been facing. Obviously, during a pandemic, we understand there's different unique circumstances. Again, we're echoing the call to state and federal agencies to investigate the circumstances under which the lack of support to these families has led to these ordeals. And we're also calling for a moratorium on evictions until we can get to the bottom of what actually is going on. We were told earlier this week that these rooms where these families have been staying have been paid for through February February 9th. However, some families and some individuals were evicted even as late as last week. So that concludes our news conference today. If there's any questions, we can open it up to the media. Otherwise, thank you all for coming out today. And thank you especially to the community advocates who came together literally, I think, under like 12 hours notice to help bring awareness to the plight of these families and what they're enduring here.
Any questions?
What are these evictions? Why are people being evicted?
Talk about the eviction.
So I can tell you about that.
In detail.
The IRC is charged with temporarily housing families until they can find permanent housing. In some areas, community groups help find the housing for the families. It's a very smooth process. 5 to 7 days they're in these hotels, they get their paperwork, they're out, they're settled. In this case, what's happening is the families stay in the hotel 2.5 months while their paperwork drags out. Caseworkers don't respond, nothing gets done, they're not communicated with. 2.5 months in the hotel, and then suddenly money is running out. Suddenly they need the rooms for other families. So they're telling the families, you've got to go. We've got a place for you. It's not in a great neighborhood. It's not near a mosque. It's not with halal market nearby. But this is where you need to move to. So they're given 24, 48 hours to move to that house or that apartment in that neighborhood that they don't know. They have no community support there. They have no sponsor there. They're told to move there. If they say no to that, IRC gives them 24 hours to move out of these hotels. They get a stipend, they get a small amount of money, and they're on their own. No support from the IRC from that point on.
And our position is that if IRC is not able to provide the support or the housing, then they need to be able to communicate with other advocacy organizations who can step in, who can support, who have been reaching out for months now to try to get access to these families so we can help them and fill that gap.
If we had known about this 2.5 months ago, we could have had housing lined up. Barbara's been doing this in Arlington. It runs like a well-oiled machine down there. We could be helping them find housing, but we didn't know, and they didn't accept the help they were offered.
And the other point is that we know that these are the dozens of families at this location, but there's hundreds of families in the Baltimore region who've been settled, and we still to this point have no idea where these families are, what their circumstances are, whether they're being followed up with caseworkers, any of that. So
Is it okay if Ms. Amina Osman says something and it's translated by Mr. Akhtar? She has not shared her story with anyone.
Assalamu alaikum.
It's important.
First, hello, good morning.
زما غټ مشکل ما د فامیل پته کېدی چې زما فامیل باید ما ته راورسېږي زه یوازې
Speak
یم.
into the mic.
So the main problem that she wanted to message you, she comes alone here, his family, almost small babies, and all they remain over there in Afghanistan. And he is thinking about his every night. Now she's also crying now, and she's my neighbor. I stay in 266 and she stayed in 64. Every night I heard he is crying. Even the two of his sons are like lost. When Taliban, I'm not sure they killed them or something else. Some babies they remain. Just she came from Afghanistan and she asked from you to convey their message to State Department, any department, that they want their family to join.
اتو کالو زه یم پاتې دي چې سر مې پاتې دي خاوند مې دي نه لپاره فامیل مې پاتې دي.
That I mentioned before, 8 years, 6 year babies, they remain in Afghanistan. His husband remain in Afghanistan. Even he doesn't know English, so the big problem he is facing.
نو زه کور ته ما د کار دپاره د غم راوختي زه ډېر کار وکړم زه به 4 ساعته کار وکړم زما دغه خرچه و زما د کور و زما بیل و برق و کرایه و دا شان زه په دغه پورې اریانه یم زه به څنګه سم زما آینده به دلته څنګه شي زه به څه
She is thinking
وکړم.
about her future, what will be our future. So she is also getting sick, and she doesn't have any ability to work. Even he will be able to work only 4 hours. So next time he might have a lot of the expenses. How he will be able to cover his expense?
دغه عینکې ما چې دونه څوک نه لرم انګلیش مې نه ده زده چې بومې زه ډاکټر وخت راواخلي عینکې را جوړ کړي.
Even since a few days his glasses is broken, but there is no anyone, even the caseworker doesn't come to bring his glasses or someone to take that to the bazaar. So this is the problem he is facing.
ستا خبرې دي نو بلا نو څه وکړم.
So he has a lot of the issues, you might have not a lot of the time to tell. So this is the highlight of her speech that he mentioned to you. Thank you. Noor?
green card راکړه د green
Green
card هم
card. So
راوخلو
that's thing that I mentioned before, like green card, different things. Like Evacuees, we need a free Evacuees. Like she. Name the Amina Osmani.
Amina
Her name
Osmani.
is
My name
Amina
is
Osmani.
Amina Osmani.
Amina?
Yeah, Amina Osmani.
Yes.
AMINA.
She's in charge.
Yeah.
SMIN.
A few days before he was sick, believe me, the caseworker didn't come. So I transferred in NGO this Miss and other Susan. She came and we had brought to the clinic. A lot of the problem, she is getting sick now as well.
15 ورځې زه د کوټې څخه نه یم راوتلې زه پرته وم په د خپله کوټه کې
Since 20 he has stayed at his room. She wasn't able to go out because she was sick. Now also she is feeling sickness. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We also have a community advocate, Missy Campbell, who wanted to share a few words, and then we'll close it up.
I just wanted to say that, I've met and spoken with a lot of these people, and they are the most courageous, strong people that I've ever talked to. The things that they've been through, and they're here in a strange country, and they are still kind and generous, and they helped us. They stepped up to help our military in Afghanistan, and we owe them better than this. This is horrible. This is an embarrassment to our country. I know we're better than that, and we owe them better than that. Thank you.
That'll conclude the news conference. If anybody needs to ask questions individually, some of the family members will be around. But thank you again for coming.